find a place. The entire time after this is 60 days. 60 days to locate a suitable unit and submit a request for tenancy approval. You qualify for one bedroom. They said the rent is between $389 to $489. Yeah, they only give you a certain time. You have to find an apartment, and you have to have the money to get the apartment. That's why I haven't been getting a hotel, because I want to have the money for the apartment when he told me I have to move a certain time, because you're not going to be able to stench it longer if I don't have what I'm supposed to have to move into the apartment. So that's why I wanted to save money for my apartment and not use it for hotels and just struggle to be outside, which people don't understand that situation of being on low income. For now, so I can work eventually. The process was so difficult, because when I was at my aunt's house, I thought it's going to be a fast process, but no. Coming to this city, I don't know anything, and I didn't even know that the place that my aunt gave me doesn't accept what I have, until they told me I had to wait all that time, and that made the process longer. And then I had to switch it to somewhere, and I switched it to the county in Murfreesboro by Nashville. And I didn't even know nothing about that area. I just switched it there because it was a nice location and whatever, and it was close to Nashville, because I would have been by Nashville, a bigger city that has transportation and buses and stuff like that. And they have buses in Murfreesboro, literal buses that go to Nashville, and more transportation than what I can say here. But it's okay though, I'll stay here until I can move to a different. But here I want to get myself together first. My first apartment here. I tried to do in Murfreesboro. When I went to my appointment out that way, I left my aunt's house early that morning and got on the bus. And was I don't know if I even told her I was going to get a hotel. I don't remember. Maybe I did, and then I decided not to, because I wanted to use the money for the apartment, because they only give you a certain time to get an apartment, a certain amount of days to get an apartment. And so I wanted to save the money so I don't have to wait longer to save it, to have the money, because I only get a certain amount of money a month, so I gotta have the money to get the apartment. And so I went out there. That first day I went out there, I just messed around for that day because it wasn't my appointment, and I don't think they had any shelter then either. So Um, I stayed out the first day. Did I stay out the whole day the first day? I think I did, or I went to that girl's hotel and stayed the day, and then the next day I went to the appointment, and then they was telling us all this stuff about the situation of the housing, and there was a lot of stuff. And she was like, well, it's not easy, like it's a hard process because of, due to that area and due to situations that happen with people and the landlord. And the landlord didn't want to deal with them because they didn't want to deal with the agency no more because of the situations of what happened. And they lost landlords and stuff like that, and it made the situation harder. And they said, well, it's not going to be an easy process, you know? So we just tried to find an apartment out that way. It was like $1,000 rent, $2,000 rent, $1,000 rent, $1,400. Where am I going to get that kind of money, man? That's like a lot of money for an apartment, 1 bedroom in my situation. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know it was going to be like that. And it was difficult, like, cause, and then my aunt up there rushing me. She's up there rushing me to find an apartment fast so she can get me out so her family can move in. And I'm like telling her in the video, I feel like you guys are rushing me to get an apartment. It doesn't work like that because, you know, like, well, you have to call the apartment and you have to, like, go view the apartment. You can't just rush people to do that. And even if she wanted me to call, I was calling the apartments after it was real late. It was like non-necessary to call then because it was like nighttime and nobody gonna answer that time, you know? You have to call like early in the morning time, the best way. But I did call and left messages and stuff like that, even though. And I got a few replies back, but it wasn't nothing. And that's why I was telling her, like, she was like rushing me to get apartment real fast as I didn't know how long the process was going to take. Being that I'm not from the city and I'm new, I don't know what's going on really or about that area. She's trying to get me to stay over that area and stay at the mission there because she didn't want me to go back and forth and she saves money for the apartment. And so I was trying to do that, getting the mission over that way. But they said they was full, they didn't have room, so I had to stay outside all night. And I didn't get a hotel because I have to use the money for an apartment. That's why I was thinking, because they only give you a certain time to get an apartment, as I said. So I gotta have the money for the apartment, then get a hotel. And I only get a certain amount of money. So a certain amount of money I have saved up to get an apartment. So I decided to like suffer and stay outside and chill all night. And it was cold outside. And then the next day, I just walked around all day till the bus came and went back to my aunt's house. And then she was still recommending me to go to the mission over here. And so I ate something at her house. And then I was like, well, I'm going for a walk. Well, I ate something, and then I called the mission to see if they still have room. They said they didn't have any. And so I told her that in text message, and she didn't even say nothing back. When I texted her that, she wasn't texting me back or nothing when I was texting her, and I felt like awkward and situation. And so I decided to tell her, like, well, I'm going for a walk. And she was like, okay. And then I went for a walk, and I was walking outside, and I decided, like, well, I don't feel comfortable going back there as how I felt that time, of how I felt about stuff. And so I wanted to stay outside away from that. And so I stayed outside. And then that's when that whole situation started. When I think I put something online saying I was going to stay outside all night. I don't know how it started. And then the others was like, God called me and was like, well, you can stay outside all night. And told me to go back to my aunt's. No, I want to go back to my aunt's because I don't feel right going back there. But I was telling them, like, well, I know I can't go back there because I felt like I can't go back there because she's going to take me to the mission anyway, you know. But they got me a hotel, whatever, and I stayed in there. And so I went back to my aunt's house after that. And I looked on the porch, and I came back and my bag was on the porch. I know. My traveling bag was on the porch. And I was like wondering why. And I texted her, and then she was like texting me saying, well, you chose to stay out all night. You didn't have to stay out all night. You could have like came home back. And I was like, well, I wanted to give y'all space because I felt like you didn't want me there anyway because you was already taking me to the mission. And then she was like,